September has just about come to an end, but this was one wild weekend. What's up, everyone? Dave here with A Soccer Fan Walks Into a Bar. Aaron is here by my side to chat surprising results, local derbies, and the beginning of the coaching carousel, so stick around. Well, happy Monday, Aaron. How's it going?
Oh, it's good. Good weekend. Good start to the week.
Yes. So for those of you that are noticing, only two of us here. Diego is serving a red card suspension.
Yes, he is in the building.
No, he's upstairs working the party. So we might have a surprising drop in from him. I doubt it, but just know that Diego is in the building and has put some feedback into the show today. So a pretty interesting weekend for both on and off the field.
Oh, yeah.
Domestically, abroad, and when I say abroad, not just in the UK. We had some very good results, very big rivalry matches and important matches atop the table on the continent as well. So we have that to talk about. We have the MLS playoff picture starting to shape up a little bit more, so we'll catch that on the second half of the show. What did you get into for the weekend? Well, let's start there.
Oh no, it was Deanna's birthday. So.
Nice.
Yeah. So it was all about wherever she wanted to do, wherever she wanted to go.
Happy wife, happy life.
Correct,
Correct. It's where it's at. I was very fortunate to be working with the brewery at the Ryder Cup out at Bethpage Black.
Very nice.
And we almost witnessed one of the most improbable comebacks, not just in Ryder Cup, not just in golf, but in all of sporting history. I believe the U.S. was trailing Europe by, I think, 7 points going into the final day. And they nearly made all that up. It was an incredible scene to be a part of. And we got to meet some really cool people along the way and pour some good Newburgh beer. So it was good on all fronts. I am absolutely exhausted, both from being out in the sun and walking all day on the course and the drive there and back. But here we are, fighting the good fight. And let's jump right into it. And some of these results were, we say surprising, but that's based more on, I think, history than it is.
It's based on our overall outlook of teams, you could say. It is one of those weekends that tends to happen. The lopsidedness tends to go the opposite direction of what we expect.
Yes. So we'll start with Brentford hosting Man United. Brentford 3, Man United 1.
Mm-hmm.
Again, mentally, as bad as United have been the last few years, it's still, these results are not registering in my head of like, no, this is probably where the team should be. But, again, it doesn't feel like that in the grand scheme of things.
You also got to think about it. They picked up good players in the offseason. They tried to change some things around. They got rid of a bunch of players. However, obviously the players are doing well that they got rid of. However, again, you would think with the newer players coming in, they would produce some results. Results they're producing are not what they need. And I don't know how they dig their way out of this hole.
Yeah, no, I mean, we've been talking about it for what seems to be the last 3 or 4 weeks now with Ruben Amorim's job. It certainly is not giving himself any security with this 3-1 loss.
I mean, it makes you feel like the higher ups at Man United are like, oh, well, like, when's the turnaround going to happen, right?
Yeah.
When's the 3 wins in a row going to happen?
I mean, we also talk about this with just about every other potential firing and job opening. Is this current iteration of Man United, are they able to bring in a manager that's better than Amorim?
I don't know at this point. I feel like maybe Amorim's just not a Premier League.
Yeah, I mean, and there are managers, and this is also not a knock on Amorim. There are managers that are much better than Ruben Amorim that have also failed in the transition into the Premier League.
I feel like if anything, give him to the end of the season.
Yeah,
gives you an outlook on who to pick from.
Yeah, realistically, just like last year, I don't think they fight for Europe.
No.
I don't think they get relegated. So
I mean, look at this. Their stats are 100% in their favor, and they lost the match.
Yeah,
they won.
yeah.
The only outlook I can see of scrounging from this is Sesko put his name on the board.
Yeah. I mean, and honestly, as a United fan, you probably do have to, take these little victories in that.
Yeah, I mean,
that sense.
the problem is like people like I've talked to Man United fans, and they're just thinking that Sesko is going to be another Højlund. He's going to come in, he's going to make all these waves. Arsenal were looking at him in the offseason. He was supposed to be this really good player, and he just doesn't fit into what Amorim is.
Yeah, I was listening to Rebecca Lowe on a podcast over. I'm trying to think when it was. I listened to it on Saturday, and that was essentially what she said about Sesko. Yeah. Was, you brought in Rasmus Højlund last year as a young, unproven in the Premier League forward that has a lot of ability, and you give him the world.
Yep.
And it didn't work out, and you get rid of him, and you replace him with a young, unproven in the Premier League striker that has ability, and you give him the world. It's like, it's the definition of insanity.
Well, I do think it's also the fit, right? Because you can look at it from other teams' point of views that has also brought in a forward this season. No one's on the record sheet 5-6 goals in right now. It's not like somebody's running away with the golden boot. However, it is game 6, and your star player finally has put his name on the board.
Yeah. I don't know. Bruno missed a penalty in this match.
Yes, he did.
So, it seems like, there are losses that are, okay, we weren't the better team today.
Yep.
So be it.
But
they seem to be shooting themselves in the foot at every opportunity they can.
Yeah.
I don't know where they go from here.
Sometimes when the ship's sinking, I mean, there's times where you feel like it just can't.
Yeah.
No matter what you do, that ship's not going to rewrite itself.
I was also reading a little bit of a conspiracy theory that Amorim assumed Bruno was 100% out and going to Saudi Arabia, and that's why he brought in other number 10s like Acuna, like these guys. And now that Bruno is still there, he's kind of like, his hand is a little forced with all this, and he's just got extra parts basically, that cost.
I mean, Mbeumo versus his old club.
Yep.
Like he didn't really do much.
No. It's an interesting ride. Every international window, I'm gonna kind of wait and see if there's a news outlet that reports that. Amorim's out.
I'll just end it with this. Like that front three. If you asked me last year, that front three is terrifying.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And they might come good. I mean, let's be honest. There is a lot of new pieces there. It's going to take time.
Yeah. It's only the first 6 games of the season. But they have to right the ship now. If they don't right the ship now, they're going to be looking at the bottom of the table again.
Yep. All right, let's move around down to London here. Chelsea hosting Brighton. Obviously, a big growing rivalry between the two squads, mostly because of the former Brighton players that are at Chelsea. Mm-hmm. For the second week in a row, Chelsea go down a man due to a red card. Brighton 3-1 winners. So Enzo scored in the 24th minute. Early in the second half, Trevor Chalobah gets the red card, and then Danny Welbeck scores twice, and De Kuyper scores also. So 2 goals in the 10 minutes of stoppage time that were there.
Yeah, it seems that's going to be a common thing. We're watching with a lot of games where they're between 8 and 10. If you see less than 5, it's amazing.
Yeah. You know what? And this was a big push during the Qatar World Cup, with the hopes that players would realize, okay, there's no point in wasting time because we're going to be at 8, 9, 12 minutes of stoppage time week in, week out if you're going to do this.
Yep.
So some interesting notes I took from this match. Chelsea dominated possession, even throughout the second half with the man down. Brighton only had 3 shots on target. They scored on every one of them.
Yeah, but they also came late. That's the interesting. Like I understand that Chelsea went down a man, but Chelsea held on for as long as they could.
Right.
And I think that Welbeck just kind of like broke it open. They could have fought for the 1-1, but obviously Brighton, being the better team in this instance, scored 2 in the stoppage time. You know? It seems to be a running thing. Stoppage time, I feel like, is it's starting to become the 2-minute warning of football, where a lot of teams tend to play 110% in those final minutes.
It's I'm curious to see if the players kind of start changing things here and there, with the potential time wasting and all this and that. But there's anytime there's large numbers of stoppage time, there's always going to be these conspiracy theories. Cue the anti-Liverpool people or the anti-Arsenal people or the anti-United, any of these quote unquote big teams that are going to get extra time. I mean,
this weekend alone, we're about to talk to one of them that had a last minute winner.
Right. So this next match we'll talk about, Crystal Palace hosting Liverpool. So we'll stay in London. This was a battle of the last 2 teams to without a loss. In the Premier League. Liverpool, of course, was on a 100% record. Palace has a couple draws already. But Palace, behind a 97th minute Eddie Nketiah goal, wins 2-1. So Liverpool is no longer on a perfect record. Another goal, by the way, another goal from Federico Chiesa for him.
Yeah, and again, a late, both goals coming late, 87th and 97th.
Yep. And I think Chiesa's goal against Bournemouth was also in the 87th, 88th minute. So, for the Italian fans and fans of Chiesa and Liverpool, it is good to see him somewhat consistently scoring now. But Palace's win here, I don't know if I'm speaking too soon, but I think it broke the league wide open here.
I think it just goes to show what everybody, especially the pundits, have been talking about, is that Liverpool aren't immortal. Right? Yeah. They are lacking in certain areas this season. You saw it in the Newcastle game where they had to fight back. You saw it in the Bournemouth game where Bournemouth, they had to fight back. And you're seeing it in pretty much every game they've played this season. They have to, for some reason.
And we kind of talked about that after 3-4 of those games was, is this just luck? Or is this the aura of Liverpool? Are they, already this early in the season kind of a team of destiny?
Yep.
So, Liverpool now on 15 points, 2 points ahead of the Gunners.
Yep.
The Arsenal went up to Newcastle. They didn't look great at Bournemouth last week, but I was pretty high on Newcastle, especially in front of their home fans. I thought Newcastle would take this result, and they nearly did. They were up 1-0 through a 34th minute goal from Woltemade, the new signing. So he's consistently getting on the score sheet, not like Seshko and Cunha and a lot of these other guys, and Gyökeres as well. He seems to be fairly inconsistent, but 2 goals in the last 10 minutes behind Marino and Gabriel, the defender. So Arsenal takes the victory, compile that with the Liverpool loss, and now Arsenal are only 2 points behind Liverpool. So
they're back to how it was
for
before.
As incredible as Liverpool have been and looked on the scoring sheet and in the table. It's a one match difference.
They not to count any chickens or eggs or anything like that. The next 5 matches, Liverpool, they flip-flopped. Liverpool has got the harder matchup per se. Arsenal tend to have a little bit easier.
Let's take a look at that. Let's see. Liverpool.
Yeah, so the next 5 matches should be Chelsea, United, which again, United is as weird of a mixed bag they are. You still can't count them out.
Right.
They have another game against Crystal Palace, except that's EFL. They have Man City and Villa. So essentially, it's not going to be a super easy ride for them. I think this is where we'll see exactly, does Liverpool push through, or do they show more cracks?
And also, within that, and we'll look at Arsenal next few matches as well. They have a trip to Turkey playing Galatasaray.
Yep.
A trip to Eintracht Frankfurt.
Yep, in Germany. Yep.
And also hosting Real Madrid.
Yeah.
So
their next essentially 8 games is going to either show cracks or they're going to push through.
Right. So let's see what that compares to with Arsenal.
I can't wait for this week's game, by the way, this Wednesday's game.
Yeah.
Arsenal get to actually hopefully beat up on Olympiacos. So it'd be nice to see that.
Yeah. So this week, midweek, Arsenal Olympiacos, then hosting
West Ham
under new manager Nuno Espirito Santo.
Yep. Then Arsenal B
at Fulham. Yep. Hosting Atletico.
That'll be a good game.
I mean, Atleti looked surprisingly incredible in the Madrid derby. We'll talk about that later. And then hosting Crystal Palace, which again is no walkover. They're in what we have them third place now, right?
Third place, yeah.
So, and
then they finish it off with Burnley.
Yes. Brighton, and then Brighton in the EFL Cup.
Correct.
And then Burnley. Not a walk in the park for Arsenal either, but I do think you're right. If we're splitting hairs here, I would say Liverpool has the tougher run of those matches, and maybe more importantly, the tougher travel in those matches as well.
Yeah, Arsenal has the whole
2 home matches. In Champions League compared to Liverpool going to Germany.
They have 2 away games that whole time.
Yeah.
That whole time. Yeah.
And not only are they 2 away matches, but and Germany's it's not like that's a far flight.
No.
But going to Turkey, going to play Galatasaray is never easy. That'll wear on you both in terms of travel and just the physicality of that match and the crowd and everything that comes along with it.
Yeah. But back to that game, the Arsenal Newcastle game. It was a weird match. It was a very weird match, very gritty. A lot of calls that were not called, a lot of calls that should have been called for both sides. It wasn't just Arsenal.
I appreciate that you can acknowledge that. Where do we go with this VAR stuff?
Listen, the funniest thing is that that Pigmol or whoever it is shared the video of the VAR, and it essentially showed this is the takedown of Gyökeres.
Yep.
It essentially showed the VAR referee sort of persuading the coach to go against what he said.
Yeah,
and it's at that point, like, why is the VAR referee trying to persuade the match referee what decision to make? Shouldn't it be the match referee's decision?
And I don't care, deflections, whatever. For me, that's a handball on Arsenal.
Yeah,
I mean if it's deflected into,
here's the thing.
His arm is all the way up.
Here's the thing. Same thing. Newcastle got a guy with like this. Hits off his hand.
Yep. No, I don't disagree.
So again, calls going every which way. Again, if that's the point, then technically it should be 4-2 right now.
Yeah.
Right, because we should have 2 penalties on handballs, and they should have 1 penalty on.
And I know, they always say, not PGMOL, but all of these pundits and people say, it all will even out by the end of the year. That sounds great, but
I love
every team that loses in one of these matches is gonna feel hard done.
Yeah, I love the how do they do it? The at the end of the year, they were like, where would everybody be if the calls went in their direction? And it's always skewed in such highways.
I mean, honestly, Bournemouth, I think, would have been in Champions League or at least in Europe.
Arsenal would have won
based on last year.
That's they're saying. If they had gotten all the calls. But again, this is a game that Arsenal normally loses.
Right.
They go home. They play away at a tough match.
They go down early.
Which means they normally sit back and play. But
this is 2 weeks in a row now that they have late comebacks, right? Wasn't it Man City last week? To tie it?
To tie it, yes. But that's just how Arsenal are, right? Arsenal are a very defensive team right now. They're still trying to figure out. They only have 8 goals to their name. They have the highest goal differential, but that's because they're allowing less than
right. Although they do have, let's see.
Yeah, they have 12 goals for 3 against.
They have second most. City on 14.
Yeah.
Liverpool and Arsenal on 12. Tottenham on 11.
Yeah. So I mean, that's the thing is like, again, you get a goal from Mourinho, you get a goal from Gabriel on a set piece, both of which come off of headers, which again is like their bread and butter. So again, it's nice to see Arsenal winning again in a game that they would have lost last year. They would have lost.
Right.
There's no way they would have won that game last year. Yeah, and again, we had most of the possession. Like, I don't know if you bring up the stat again.
65.
Yeah, everybody was taking shots. There, Trossard hit the post again.
Yep.
You know, so again, 26 shots.
No, that was the Liverpool.
Liverpool.
No, where am I? Let's get back to. Let me just search for it.
Yeah, no worries. You know, Trossard hit the post again, forcing Nick Pope to make several great saves.
20 shots, 7 on target.
So there you go, 7 on target. Again, you cannot fault them. They're firing on all cylinders. They're trying to get their offense going. Could they be more sharp? Yes, that's what we said last season too. But you can't fault them, right? I mean,
12 corner kicks also, by the way.
Well, that's the thing, is their offense can play inside their opponent's box like it's nothing.
Yep.
The problem is getting it in the box, getting it
into the net. Yeah. All right. So Bournemouth rescued a late draw as well.
Mm-hmm.
Sunderland, another win.
I did say that was going to be a dangerous match for them. I did say, I felt that Leeds was going to try to scrap away a win, and Bournemouth sitting in fourth might have.
And they have a very good home crowd up in Leeds. My knock on Bournemouth, if there is one knock on Bournemouth, you know, over the last few years, has been when they are in or close to the driver's seat, they almost always seem to falter. Yeah. They seem to play much better as that unknown commodity of like.
Did you see the joke on them on the new? What do they call it?
You sent that in the Discord.
Yeah, it was like Tyler Adams plays better when he gets booed or something.
Yeah, they were really letting them have it.
Yeah.
But you know, it is what it is. He's a former player. He left on if you listen to Leeds fan, not great terms, but you know, here we are. He came from Leeds with an injury that they kind of hid from Bournemouth anyways. Like it just it was a mess. There's a whole lot to that.
Yeah.
You know, but here we are. So a quick rundown of the Premier League table. Liverpool in first on 15, Arsenal second on 13, Palace in third on 12, Tottenham, Sunderland, and Bournemouth all on 11.
And let it be known that Tottenham gave Wolves their first point of the season.
Yes.
In classic Tottenham fashion.
Man City in 7th on 10, right now out of the European spots. Chelsea and Everton level, along with Brighton, and Fulham and Leeds, all on 8.
Mm-hmm.
The beauty of the early table where everyone is level. Brentford and Man United both on 7. Newcastle and Villa on 6. Forest on 5. And then in the relegation zone, Burnley and West Ham on 4. And Wolves with a -9 goal differential already through 6 matches on 1 point.
Yeah, I mean, I think the only surprise of this table right now is Newcastle.
On the bottom half?
On the bottom half. I mean, they've played intensely, but they've had a very hard schedule.
Yeah.
Like their first 6 games were intense.
Yeah, and obviously, you know, you it comes so late in the transfer window, but to lose a player like Alexander Isak,
but like you said, they replaced him with a guy who is performing well and producing goals. But again, like you said, like you thought Newcastle was going to take it from Arsenal, but it's just one of those things that like is their spot really indicative of how they're playing? If you put Manchester United and Newcastle together right now, I feel like Newcastle walks them all day.
It's certainly. How about on the top half of the table? What are some surprises for you?
Sunderland.
I mean, Sunderland has been. I know they spent a lot of money, but other newly promoted clubs have done that as well in the past. And
that's the joke. I mean, that's the joke. Newcastle and Sunderland are rivals.
Right.
No, Newcastle was literally like I was watching. I was just, like looking at all the Facebook pages and the Twitter pages of like Newcastle, and they were just dogging on Sunderland, saying like, "Oh, you guys are going to get relegated again this season." And here they are, 6 matches into the game, and they're in basically the spots where the opposite should be.
I agree with that. For me, honestly, Bournemouth is a little surprising to be that high up. I was very cautious about just all the new players in the back line for them this year. I did not think they would, hit the ground running as well as they have. But
Bournemouth feels like one of those stories where like it's early. Right? Yeah. And if you give me 6 more games and they're still there, I'll be like, that's
no, I agree. Yeah. Let's see, Bournemouth. Who do they have coming up?
They have
Fulham on Friday.
Crystal Palace.
Then at Palace, Forest, at City, at Villa, and then home to West Ham.
Not bad. I mean, at that point, you're looking at, and again, if Palace and City essentially being your hard ones,
and both of those matches are away. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day,
I mean, if you have the run into Sunderland and Everton,
if you have aspirations for Europe,
you got to win.
Those are matches that you have to on the road at least get a point from them.
Yeah.
I think if Bournemouth are the team they think they are, I think all the home match against Fulham needs to be a win.
Yeah.
Palace away, I'd be okay with a draw there. Forest at home with the way they're struggling, I think a home win is needed. Man City away. Man City's been very unpredictable lately, but I think that's a loss, honestly.
Yeah.
And then if you can nick a point or 3 points at Villa right now, yes, they're struggling, but it's a good crowd. It's a good atmosphere.
If they get 12 points out of the next 6 matches, I think their focus shifts from top half the table to top 4.
Yeah. Let's say I think Fulham, Forest, West Ham.
Yep, those are 3.
Should be 9.
Yep, and then hoping for 1-1-1.
Sneak, or if you can sneak an away win. Mm-hmm. I mean, you're not wrong.
Yeah.
So
I mean, because like my thing is like Crystal Palace right now is yes, they have 3 wins and 3 draws. However, they have not shown that grit that they're going to stay in that position. Again, 3 draws is rough. Again, it's like Arsenal of last year. Like 12 draws.
Maybe
they need to become wins.
Maybe they become the Invincibles again.
There's no.
There were a ton of draws in that season. I do recall that.
Correct, but the thing is, like, we're 21 seasons since. Not a single team has, I mean, Liverpool could have done it. I think they had a 2-loss season. Man City could have done it. They had a 2-loss season. But
honestly, that I know you're an Arsenal fan. I do not think the Invincible season is as impressive as most do. I get it's an achievement. I totally understand that.
But here's the thing. Soccer's different nowadays. Soccer's completely different nowadays. You put like the Man City and the Liverpools of now in with the teams back then, they're going to walk all over them.
Yeah.
Because again, things have become more streamlined. Things have become more tactical. In all honesty, I feel like it's become less of a team game and more of a strategy game.
Yeah. I just, me, the goal of the season is to amass as many points as possible. Mm-hmm. And when you look at, these, the Liverpool and Man City years of the last 5 or 6 years where they're close to, if not hitting 100 points.
Yeah.
They blow that Arsenal team out of the water.
In my opinion, that's bad soccer. I don't like one dominant team doing everything they can. It's like we talked about it before. When you have a team that's going to the finals 11 out of the last 10, out of the last 12 seasons, it's not fun. It's you're watching the same team do the same thing, and for some reason, no one can figure it out.
Right.
So that's my opinion. Again, it's different. You're looking at different things. Yeah.
Let's see. So speaking of dominance, let's take a look at the Madrid derby. Atleti has been struggling a little bit. But nothing like a local rivalry to cure what ails you.
Yeah.
Real Madrid went up 2-1. So Atleti scored the first one. And then Mbappe and Arda Güler scored also in the first half to go up 2-1. Alexander Sorloth scored in stoppage time of the first half. Yep. So things are level at 2 going into the half. And then 3 more unanswered goals 2 from Julian Alvarez and Antoine Griezmann in stoppage time, seals it. And Atleti puts 5 past Real Madrid in really unprecedented fashion with only 37% possession. It was a super interesting match. And maybe one of the most interesting things I took from it is 9 total shots on target.
Yeah.
From between both teams for 7 goals. So that, again, we talk about the Liverpool loss blowing the league wide open. That is Madrid's first loss.
And all it did was put them below Barcelona.
Yeah. But
I don't know.
It at the same token though, like under Xabi Alonso, everyone felt okay. This is going to be Madrid's year to run the table here. That win does put Atleti into 5th place. Through 7 matches, Barca still undefeated, although they do have 1 draw. So Barcelona and surprising outfit Elche are the only teams without a loss so far. Elche in 4th place, behind only Villarreal, Real Madrid,
it's
and
exciting
Barca.
when teams don't have a loss.
I know. Right? Real Betis also up in the top half of the table. Espanyol is up there. Surprisingly, on the bottom half, you have Real Sociedad.
Girona being the big surprise. I guess.
I mean, they were just picked apart by other clubs, including their parent club, Man City. After that great year they had.
Like I said, this is the big issue I have with La Liga. It's just like every time some team comes in really good, they stumble, and it's the same 2 at the top.
Yeah, I mean,
it's rough for me. For me, it's rough. I mean, I understand.
I think from an outside perspective, the Premier League is not vastly different. Mm-hmm. You might have, instead of 2 at the top, you might have 3 or 4.
Correct, but you also have teams winning the FA Cup separately. You have teams running the EFL Cup separately. You have the top 4 essentially being different all the time. And here, it's literally who's going to take top 2.
Yeah, I mean,
nobody really focuses on who's third.
I enjoy watching La Liga. Yeah. I like the style of play. I also enjoy watching Serie A and Bundesliga as well. So I like to see a little bit of everything.
My issue is when it comes down to who's going to lose more, Barcelona or Real Madrid.
Yeah, that's my issue. You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Yeah.
But we might have the same case between Liverpool and Arsenal this year, and we had it. Last year, the same case.
Yep.
And the year before that, it was City and Liverpool. And, so like, I get it. It's not always the same 2 teams, but listen,
you have a top 6 for a reason. In La Liga, you have a top 2.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we say you have a top 6, but look at United. You look at Newcastle, you look at Everton, you look at Villa, these clubs that are struggling. Is it because the rest of the league is good? Is it because they're falling off? There's that kind of stuff is above our, statistics and our insight. We can only see what we see. We don't have the backroom staff, on speed dial to
listen. I'm not trying to dog La Liga, right, at all. I'm a fan of the Greek league. I can't support the Greek league because you've got a champion who's won it 40 some odd fucking times. But again, it's just one of those things that's like, it's nice to see someone else win because it's like, holy cow, okay, that team played really well.
Yeah.
Right. So that's my thing with Barcelona and Real Madrid is like when you see Girona, like a team like Girona, you're like, okay, cool, this team's going really well.
Right.
Can they take it? No. Okay.
Yeah. All right. Well, speaking of a fight at the top, we have a new leader in the clubhouse. To use my Ryder Cup analogy here, Milan played Napoli on the weekend. Napoli was leading the league, but now Milan behind a 2-1 victory over Napoli, including another goal and an assist from American Christian Pulisic.
He's on a roll.
He's playing out of his mind right now. For my money, he's the best player in Serie A right now. Certainly the best player at Milan. And that's a squad that includes Luka Modric. Milan are leading the league right now.
Yep.
Again, super early. We've only played 5 matches. They are joint first on 12 points with Napoli and Roma.
No, this is one of the leagues that has surprised me because again, in the past it's always tend to be a 3-horse race. But over the past several years, you've seen the likes of Juventus fall, you've seen Napoli rise,
Yep.
Atlanta rise, you've seen a lot of good teams come out lately.
Yeah,
and it's a good race.
Honestly,
It's
to
a
me,
good
that
race.
was the start of this new era of Serie A. Was under Gianpiero Gasperini at Atalanta, that Champions League run that they had, and Gasperini brought in a much more attacking style of football, which is really kind of the antithesis of what Serie A has been known for 50 years basically.
1-0.
As far as he was concerned, Catenaccio was no more. Let's get things moving forward, and here we are.
It's nice to see. And again, Pulisic showing at Milan why he is, the star United States player. It's good to see.
He's leading super early still. He's leading Serie A in goals.
Yep.
Which he's not an out-and-out striker. He does tend to play a little bit more on the wing. Although I do think in the match against Napoli he was playing up front. Let me see if I can actually grab that lineup and see where they had him in. Yeah, he and Santi Jimenez were the two forwards.
Yes.
In a 3-5-2. Rabiot got into the midfield a little bit, which was interesting and good to see. But yeah, it's despite being dominant and also Pervis Estupiñán got a red card in the 57th minute. So the last half hour or so was Milan playing a man down, and that will skew obviously some of the stats. But they were resolute. They held on for the win. Even though De Bruyne scored on a ensuing penalty, but all the leagues so far this year, or at least the major leagues that we talk about consistently, have been very surprising and dynamic and interesting. And I'm just thrilled to see, even early in the season where there is a lot of movement up and down.
For a person who doesn't have like a favorite team in those, I really enjoy seeing the variety.
Oh yeah,
that's my thing. That's my biggest thing is I like seeing the variety in the ones that I don't specifically follow.
I mean, and you're an Arsenal fan, but you're very realistic. Like, yeah, of course you want Arsenal to win every match and win the league by 20 points. Great, but it's fun when there's all these permutations. Even when if it is to a slight detriment to Arsenal.
It was the same thing I told Per, and I'll finish with this. Like I told Per the other day, because he's starting to watch NFL and he's watching the Eagles. He's a big fan of the Eagles who won last year. And he's like, "Oh, this game is too close. Like they're not blowing them out by 3 touchdowns." And I'm like, "Per, I was like, blowing out by 3 touchdowns is not a good game to watch."
For those of you that don't know, Per is a member of our Discord.
Yes, he's from the Leeds area of the UK.
Leeds, and he is a Philly Union and Eagles fan now.
Yes,
by way of his future wife. So, Per, is adopting some Americanisms, but struggling to get used to the parody of American
sports. Yes,
which it's funny to see the flip side of that. Like,
correct. Like I said, again, last season was his first ever season watching the NFL. He got it was funny because he bought the whole NFL ticket package. He started following the Eagles. He got the jersey, and then they won, and he's like. I'm not as excited as I thought I would be of them winning. And I'm like, yes. I was like, because you came into the thing.
Yeah.
It's like someone who's never watched soccer during the Man City years saying, "Oh, I'm going to follow Man City," and then they win. And it's like, oh, okay, cool. So they won.
It's like expected. we were talking before the show, about me going to the Ryder Cup. And I mean, I've played golf here and there as charity outings, stuff like that. But I've never been to a proper professional golf tournament. And the Ryder Cup is nowhere near what I expected.
It's like the Fire Festival.
I was going to say, I was joking with people. I felt like I was at a festival or a carnival, and a golf tournament broke out. It was absolutely crazy. I showed a video to Diego and Naz here of between tee offs, Rage Against the Machine playing on the sound system, and it was just a monster event. That I can't even fathom the logistics that went into all of that, but yeah, so it's kind of spoiled me now in the way that that pair is
Yep.
If the Eagles finish second in their division and miss the playoffs, is like what happened? Like
No. I think this year, like if they struggle to get in the playoffs, they make the playoffs, and then they start fighting their way through. I think he's going to have a better time than how dominant they were last season.
Yeah. So, all right, that's going to do it for the first half of our show. We will be right back with 100 miles to home and a ton more action coming up next week. So stick around. All right, welcome back. We are here with Aaron, and I am Dave. 100 miles to home. We've had a ton of big rivalry matches, just over the week anyway, or top of the table matches. So we had Crystal Palace, Liverpool. We had the Madrid Derby. We had Milan Napoli for a fight for first place in Serie A, and then the big one, at least for us locally, the Hudson River Derby at Sports Illustrated Stadium, hosted by New York Red Bull. And what a match it was. This was I believe the fifth match in 14 days for NYCFC. And somehow by hook or by crook, they came out with a 3-2 victory. It was, I don't know if you caught any of it. I actually was watching it from Long Island.
Like I said, I started paying attention around the 2-1. When I was like, I just need a Forsborough goal to hit my prediction, that's when I started paying attention. You kind of got to feel for Red Bull. They're the ones that are kind of fighting for the thing, but obviously they're going to get shown no mercy from their other side of the river, brothers.
Oh yeah, no, of course, and nothing makes NYCFC players and fans happier than being the team to potentially knock out the Red Bulls from playoff contention. It has not officially happened, I don't think. It looks like,
I don't know. I've always felt as a New York fan, like, yes, it is. It's always great to see when you lose, like when you beat, obviously your rival, your brother team, essentially. But I feel like fans also want to see the other New York team because it gives them another team to root for, right? Especially when you're from the area. It's the same thing. Like the funny thing is, I mean, here you got them both in the same conference.
Right.
If they were in different
leagues,
if they were in different conferences, I think we'd be different. Like we'd be like, okay, cool. We want to see a New York versus New York, like final.
I don't know. I mean, where are we now? 11 years in of this rivalry, somewhat artificially manufactured from the get go.
Yeah.
That being said, there is certainly bad blood between the two squads. Red Bulls knocked NYCFC out of the playoffs last year.
Yep.
But as it stands right now, Red Bulls are on the outside looking in, 10th place. With 2 matches left, they are 5 points behind Chicago for the final spot. So they are not mathematically eliminated, although they need...
Chicago has a game in hand.
Yeah, so Chicago has 3 matches left. Let's see. They play... They're at Miami.
Mm-hmm.
Home to Toronto and home to New England, who I believe are 2 of the worst teams in the East. Let me go back and see if I can grab that. DC's in dead last. Oh, no, I'm sorry. It was Toronto, New England. So Toronto and New England are, again, both eliminated from the playoffs. They are 11th and 12th. New England's in 11th, Toronto's in 12th. So
I mean, I think at this point you kind of just count the Red Bulls out.
I think so too, because I believe they play. Do they play Cincinnati and Columbus? Do I have that right? They're home against Cincinnati and at Columbus on decision day. So, 2 teams. Cincinnati has already clinched their playoff spot. They are flying high. They have a shot maybe at the Supporter Shield. Yep. But Columbus is fighting to not be in that play-in match. They are currently in 8th place and would play Chicago in the Eastern Conference play-in. So
I mean, it's incredible to see. New York City was in the play-in
Yeah, I
3
know.
weeks ago, and now they're in
I
third,
think they've
so.
won 7 of their last 9.
Yeah.
And one of the losses was inexplicably at home against DC United. The worst team in the East. So it's certainly a wild,
Yeah.
But again, this shows the parity of American sports compared to, what most of us think of in Europe on that front.
Are these new teams, San Diego FC and Minnesota?
Minnesota's not. San Diego is.
Okay.
San Diego, this is their expansion year.
We've been seeing a lot of like in not just this sport, but in like hockey and stuff that new teams come in and they automatically just do so well.
Yeah,
it's really weird to see.
I think part of it is, and it certainly in. I'm going to phrase this. It's going to come out wrong, but in the less popular sports, where you get that new team kind of attendance bump, and you have a good atmosphere at least for year one. Even you look at,
I think it's the other way. Also, how the U.S. does their new team additions is that the new team gets the first pick,
right,
at like free agency and agents on them, or players on the market, right? You saw it with in all due respect to the Vegas Knights.
Yeah,
their first season they were able to essentially pick the cream of the crop, and they made it all the way to the finals.
Yeah,
their first season, it was unheard of. It was
again, a lot of that is the people that and I've somewhat more familiar with him more than most owners. But it's Bill Foley who owns Bournemouth. He is very ambitious.
Yeah.
He puts people in positions to succeed both in the front office and on the field or on the ice. And he demands excellence from them and tends to get it. So I do think that certainly plays a factor. But at least for the MLS, San Diego's atmosphere in the crowd has been incredible. Obviously, when an MLS team comes in and you can also potentially bring in a European star, that changes the dynamic a bit as well. Yep. Case in point, Vancouver, who have Thomas Mueller right now, who are riding high.
LAFC's turned things around.
Who brought in Sun Heung-min, and we'll talk about him later. But yeah, so NYCFC goes to Red Bull Arena. They actually sweep the Red Bulls this year, and it just the combination of realizing they're probably going to miss the playoffs for the first time in I believe 15 years, and getting decimated by NYCFC, I think is a big realization by Red Bull that this is a team that made it to MLS Cup final last year.
I feel, but again, it's like with the MLS, it's always up. Again, it's always up in the air. You have the playoffs you have to fight through. Again, the Shield is not as important as the playoffs,
right? So
it's one of those things that you got to look at and be like, okay, here's the other thing too is like, okay, cool, the Red Bull lost. There's always next year.
Yeah.
They're not
going to be relegated.
No relegation. There's no implications of losing.
They're not out of Europe. They're
The only thing I can think of that might be a negative in the offseason is does Forsberg and Boateng.
I don't know what their contracts look like. I don't know how much time they have left on them. I did hear, I don't recall if it was this week or last week, talks by oh my God, his name's escaping me now. He's a pundit now on MLS, on Apple. Dax McCarty, who is a former New York Red Bull player, essentially said like the best thing for Red Bull moving forward is to miss the playoffs. If you're thinking big picture, yeah. I said that for years with the U.S. national team about the World Cup. Mm-hmm. We are, the U.S. for the longest time had such a cakewalk because outside of Mexico and maybe Jamaica here and there or Costa Rica here and there,
they technically still do.
Yeah. But yeah, so for Red Bulls, if you're okay with the quote unquote mediocrity of finishing eighth, okay, at least we made the playoffs again 15 years in a row. Is that the model for improving and achieving what you want in with your goals, or do you have to fail big and blow it up and start over.
So it's the double-edged sword of what I said earlier about liking, in stuff that I'm not invested in, liking the mix-up of the league, right? I feel like the MLS might have a little too much mix-up. It's always different, and that you never see a team stay on top for long.
Well, case in point, defending champion LA Galaxy is the worst team in the league this year.
Correct.
Actually, DC United is giving them a run for their money. But
however, again, also there is no negative to them being there.
Right.
They could somehow immediately change, make one or two changes in the offseason, have a good season next season, and all of a sudden they're back in the playoffs. It's just how strange.
To be fair, part of the reasoning for that, you can't have both if you're the MLS. So if you want teams to stay at the top, that are good and well run,
you have to give them a negative.
If they were to be relegated, the reason one of the reasons why they're doing so poorly is, they lost a load of guys because you have to balance the books and hit the salary cap.
Yep.
If LA Galaxy wins the Premier League, not only are they, keeping most, if not all of their quality players, but they're using that prize money and the future, next year's Champions League money to bring in more good players.
Correct.
To the untrained eye or the person that is not in tune to the MLS, I get it. Like, it looks like, there's no negative, and you're right. Yeah. But, part of the system that creates no negative also is creating this parity where you can go from first to last. Correct. Literally.
Correct. So, which again, it's very common in American sports.
Yeah,
it's very common,
and I do think that's part of the
draw.
But also part of the problem in bringing in foreign fans. And especially now that we're bringing in, the Messis, the Thomas Müllers, the Son Heung-mins of.
Where do you start? Who do you follow? What do you
Right.
If you like, somebody watching is gonna be like, all right, I want to try to not say a bandwagon fan, but they're like, who's doing well? Okay, cool. I'll follow this team, and the next like you said, I'm gonna follow LA Galaxy.
Yeah.
Why are they at the bottom? What happened?
At the same token, they're at the bottom. Yeah. It's not like I'm following a championship team now next year. That's what I mean. Like some of these dynamics, whether it's TAM or GAM or no relegation, no promotion, or an MLS Cup playoff tournament. Like a lot of these things are so boring. The other thing
too is they keep adding teams.
Yeah.
At what point does it pop?
For me, I think they get to 32. 32 is a good round even number.
So what, 16 and 16?
Either 16 and 16, you do first and second division, you do 4 8-team geographic divisions, and then come together for something. I think 32 is a good. 30 would be okay too if you want to go.
But their plan is like 34, 36.
I've heard rumors of getting to 40 and doing 20 and 20, which that would model most European leagues.
Correct. Like I said, the moment they announce a second division, I will promise you this right now, chat. The moment they promise to make a second division and a relegation and promotion, I will start following them.
Honestly, I'm surprised they have not already done so and just kind of hamstrung the promotion requirements to almost guarantee that a team would stay up.
Yes.
But that's neither here nor there. I'm just like I said, I'm interested to see how this, and it will get to a point because, those franchise fees, similar to a pyramid or Ponzi scheme, are going back to the old owners as part of a, profit sharing of, okay, now, there used to be 20 pieces of the pie, now there's 22, so you have to pay us off to share that. But it's going to get to a point now where I think right now the last expansion fee was $500 million. There's going to get to a point where I don't care how
buy-in.
interested someone is.
Yeah, the buy-in.
They're not going to go for it, or they'll just try to buy an existing team instead.
Well, here's the other thing with that too is here's the other thing that you see in the United States that you don't see elsewhere. Otherwise, if a team stinks, they end up moving.
Yeah.
Right. In Europe, your team might stink. They're in the 4th division, but they're still the same location.
Yeah,
the same fans.
I think people. A lot of that just has to do with the history and
like
a lot of those teams
went to LA.
Yeah,
or they went to right. The Athletics went to Vegas. Right. The Rams went to Vegas. The Raiders went to Vegas.
Yeah.
So it's like it's like you're losing all of these.
To be fair, in the MLS, that has only happened. I'm trying to think now.
Well, Columbus almost lost theirs.
Columbus nearly left. The whole Anthony Precourt thing, and they gave him a franchise. So you're going now. We're going back to that was just teams disbanding.
Yeah.
Which happens it happens in Europe also.
Yeah.
So you go, to go way back, you had Tampa Bay Mutiny and Miami Fusion. That would have been probably 2000, 2001.
Yeah, that I don't remember.
They left.
I think Chivas was the farthest back.
Chivas they were disbanded also. And you had San Jose Earthquakes moved to Houston and become Houston Dynamo, I believe, and then
San Jose
of a Phoenix club of San Jose coming back.
I mean, you see it in mostly American sports.
Yeah,
that's all.
But to be fair, for now 30 years of history, and those early teams were disbanded to basically, to cut off your arm to save your body, so to speak. Those were times where, the league was not doing well financially.
Yeah.
And you had, 2 or 3 owners that owned multiple teams to keep everything afloat. And, say what you want about the way MLS is currently run, but the only way to start MLS and keep it functioning was with these rules and this methodology. So do I think it's time that MLS could and should change a little bit? Absolutely. But to anyone that says like it should have been like that all along, doesn't remember.
You have a visitor, sir.
Diego, ¿qué pasa? Doesn't remember, the NASL back all the way back then. Doesn't remember the A-League, the USI, all,
when I moved here in 2004, like I didn't know that the US had a soccer league. When I moved here in 2004, the Metro Stars were like the thing. That's all I can really.
Yeah, I mean, I used to go to Metro Stars games as a kid.
Yeah.
And obviously Red Bull bought them, and they moved out of Giant Stadium into a beautiful stadium.
Yes, I do remember that. Yep.
But I grew up. Yeah, I would go to Giant Stadium thinking like this was a good experience to watch a soccer game, and now I've been extremely fortunate to have seen games across the U.S., in South America, in England, in soccer specific stadiums, including Red Bull Arena, now Sports Illustrated Stadium. And it makes me, think back to those old Giant Stadium days. I'm like, what the hell was I thinking? Thinking that was good. But when you have nothing to compare it to,
but you also have to remember back then, U.S. soccer also wasn't as good as it is now.
Right.
It's gotten a lot better.
Right. So, and again, we can thank the MLS, regardless of how people feel about it. Without the MLS, that next step likely doesn't happen. You'll still have some of the guys go straight to Europe.
I'm not thinking necessarily in terms of U.S. soccer as in the national team. I'm saying more in the MLS. But again, it does fall that the MLS is not the top league in the United States. It is. There's other sports that take precedence. And that's more of my thing. Right. The MLS has gotten better over the years. And because the MLS has gotten better over the years, it has drawn more attention. And obviously they're trying to come out of the shadow of the retirement league that it had for so long. And when Beckham came over again, you saw the thing with Beckham where he was playing with guys that had second or third jobs, and now it's just people that are able to dedicate their time.
No, for sure. And listen, we could do entire shows devoted to the growth and
maybe that's an idea.
Pros and cons of the MLS, but we do have to move on. We have a jam-packed week coming up.
Oh, yes.
So what's on tap? Starting tomorrow, Tuesday. Well, I'll probably release this tomorrow morning on Tuesday. So Tuesday, 3 p.m. I am gonna see if Diego wants to do it alongside me. We might broadcast this one on Twitch with a watch along.
Okay.
Chelsea hosting Benfica. Then Wednesday, we have 3 of our in the taproom supporters clubs all playing in Champions League, all at 3 o'clock. Barcelona hosting PSG, Borussia Dortmund hosting Athletic Club de Bilbao, and Manchester City traveling to Monaco, all in Champions League. Friday, we talked about it with Bournemouth. They will be hosting Fulham Friday at 3. Saturday, 9:30 a.m. After I should mention this, Saturday at about 8, we will be on for the pour over, our morning preview show with Diego, Naz, and myself.
Yes, join us on Twitch.
We do some predictions. We talk about more of these matches that we're just mentioning now, a little bit more in depth. Then we will have Dortmund hosting RB Leipzig. We will also most likely have the 10 a.m. game featuring Arsenal. They have who is it? West Ham, right?
West Ham.
Yep. So Arsenal, West Ham, and then some of the bigger ones at 12:30. Chelsea hosting Liverpool on Saturday. So that one, obviously depending on what Arsenal does, that could result in a new leader in the table, right?
Yes.
Can they mathematically take over?
Yes. Because they are 2 points behind.
They're 2 points.
Liverpool would need a loss.
I couldn't remember if it was a 2 or a 3 point gap.
If Liverpool draws or loses and Arsenal wins, Arsenal will be ahead, I think, on goal difference.
Yeah, I was going to say more important. Well, maybe not more importantly, but very importantly, Arsenal already has a goal differential of 4 better than Liverpool.
Yeah.
So
they have allowed 3 goals in 6 games.
So, and that's something we haven't talked about, the somewhat leaky defense that Liverpool has right now.
Again, that's why I said over their next 5 games, it's going to show, does Liverpool have cracks that people can exploit, or are they going to toughen up and start grinding out those wins again?
All right, then Saturday night, NYCFC traveling to Philadelphia Union. Obviously, NYCFC have the playoff spot in the bag.
You should do a watch along and see if we can get Pear on. Yeah.
What is that? That's 12:30 p.m. for him.
12:30 p.m. for him. He'll be up. It's fine. I'll talk to him.
It's a Saturday night. It's not like, what does he have to do Sunday morning? Come on. Yeah. All right, let's talk to Pear about that. Maybe we'll get something going.
Yeah, I could come out Saturday.
Sunday morning, we have Wolves hosting Brighton and Hove Albion, and our Seagulls on Hudson. 10:15, Sevilla hosting Barcelona. 11:30, Brentford hosting Man City, and then Sunday afternoon, another huge Serie A match. Juventus hosting AC Milan. So Milan with their first match as league leaders. And Juve, I think they are in, what are they, in 4th place right now? Let me see.
Juve, I think, either 4th or 5th currently.
Juve are in 4th, only 1 point back. This has been a pretty tough run for AC Milan. Napoli and Juve on the bounce. If they can get 6 points from those 2 matches, those are 2 tough results. I believe after Juve, they have another tough match coming up as well. Fiorentina, Pisa, and then at Atalanta, and then home to Roma. Roma is also, and then they have the Milan Derby coming up. I mean, this October, November for Milan really will show, by most pundits, they've been, outside of their loss on the opening weekend, they've been head and shoulders the best team in the league. I think October, November, if we get to
3 games against the top 6,
right? If we get to Thanksgiving and Milan are still in a Champions League spot. I'm not going to say they need to be leading the league, but if they stay in the top 3 or 4 after this run of matches with Napoli, Juve, Atalanta, Roma, and Inter, then I do think that they are the force to be reckoned with that they seem to be so far. I think this is put up or shut up time.
Back to the Milan of old.
Oh, nothing would make me happier as I don't know if you can see it on camera with my Milan tattoo on my leg, but that will close out our weekend. And what a weekend it's going to be. I might just grow roots here in the brewery upstairs because I want to watch almost all of these matches. Yeah. I mean, there's a couple that, I don't have a horse in the race for and doesn't, do anything for me. Not that I don't want to watch it, but, I do have to spend some time with my family.
No, I understand. No, same.
All right. So one for the road now. Aaron, you have anything?
I think we already touched on it. Just Nuno going to West Ham.
Yep.
In place of Graham Potter.
Yep.
Congratulations to him for getting his new job. However, I think that once again, that takes Manchester United pretty much out of the race of looking for a new manager. I think we're set on Amorim for the rest of the year, at least until until the winter break.
Well, so Nuno is unavailable. Mourinho is back in Portugal, so he's unavailable for the time being. Who knows? Yeah. And actually,
I mean, the only thing I could see is if they continue their poor form, by the winter break, it'll just be an interim manager of whoever's second.
Yeah. I should mention also, obviously we'll have this game, we talked about this match already, but Jose Mourinho is going back to Chelsea tomorrow. He's the manager of Benfica, and they're going to Chelsea in Champions League. So a little bit of I'm very curious to see what kind of reception.
He should.
I think he will get a standing ovation. Yeah. I can't imagine he doesn't.
He didn't do anything. It would if you told me Benfica's going to Manchester United tomorrow, I think it would be an opposite reaction.
Yeah,
but because he's going to Chelsea,
you know what? He kind of left as a villain of Manchester United, but hindsight, the things that he said are still issues.
Yeah, but the thing is again, him going into Chelsea, he brought relevance to Chelsea. You did not hear much about Chelsea prior to the 2000s.
Right. And granted, we are not English, so Chelsea did have a pretty storied history. They were on hard times for about 20-25 years. Mm-hmm. But yes, he restored, and then some.
And then some, yes.
What Chelsea Football Club are and were. So
he took,
and that a lot of people don't like him, and I totally understand why. And he does seem to be one of these managers that the game has kind of left him behind in the sense that he's still doing the things that he was doing in the 2000s and the 2010s.
Correct, because you got to remember he's also played alongside like the Fergusons, the Bangers. Like again, I told you, like again, you take any of the clubs now and you put them against the clubs of old, and yes, they're going to walk them over because things are more crisp, things are more finesse now. And that's the thing is he's still playing in that
right. And to me, that is again, we're absolutely splitting hairs here. But that's the difference between a Mourinho versus a Ancelotti, a Guardiola. Yes, they have their systems, but they changed the game to the game. It's
again, he did change the game to what it became for him, but then it was next man up.
Right,
the person came in and changed it from that.
Yeah,
and again, Mourinho balls. Again, I think at Benfica he'll do well because. Again, it's one of the I would say B leagues in the Portugal league. They need something like that.
Yes. All right. So my one for the road is Son Heung-min and Denny Bouanga combined for 3 goals in a 3-0 victory over St. Louis City for an MLS record 17 consecutive goals as a pair. So the last 17 goals that LAFC have scored have all been scored by either Son or Denny Bouanga.
I'm contradicting on this because as great as it is to see, does it expose the MLS? Son has come in and this is what you expect from Right. So again, people say the retirement league, right? If you look at it, anytime a player comes from the European leagues into the MLS, they absolutely rip and tear. And I think that's what it exposes the MLS. That's why,
so
8 goals in 8 games and 2 assists.
Yeah, I mean, he's
what's Messi's record right now? 24 goals.
Yeah, he's 33.
Yeah.
So he's past his prime, but he's not not in retirement age. So he is extremely fit. I mean, let's put that there. And also, you look at to use LAFC and a player that you're familiar with, Olivier Giroud last year.
Yeah.
Did not do well. Okay. And you know what? He went back to France, and he is doing extremely well. So sometimes it's just a system thing. Also, sometimes it's homesickness, it's mental health, it's this, it's a run of bad luck.
In the MLS, it changes players.
Absolutely.
It's weird to say it changes.
It's added travel. I mean, these guys are not used to. They were just. I'm trying to think of who is just listening.
There's 3-hour differences. Like you have the UK all in one time zone, as opposed to the US being within 3 hours of each other.
Realistically, every domestic match they're taking a coach bus. They're Miami to Vancouver is what, a 7-hour flight probably. You're
constantly traveling, you're constantly doing stuff, and they're not used to it. But I'm just saying, it goes to show you that you take a star player from another country, you take them and you put them in the MLS, and then they rip and tear, and it's like, is that good for the MLS, or is that bad saying the MLS is not up to what they should?
Let me again, this is not necessarily apples to apples. Erling Haaland in the Premier League, does that make the Premier League look bad?
No, so Haaland is a specific player in which you have to build the system around him.
Okay.
Guardiola has exploited his best form.
If Gyökeres had 11 goals at this point, which is absolutely ridiculous. Let's do something a little bit more realistic. If he had 6 goals at this point, does that make the Premier League look bad?
No, that makes Arsenal look good.
But so why can't we just say this makes LAFC look good, as opposed to the MLS is trash?
Because there's more limelight on the MLS to grow as a league than there's a Premier League. The Premier League's already established itself. The MLS is not.
How do you establish yourself?
I don't know.
You bring in players like
this
Stone.
Is why I don't get paid.
I know.
Dollars to do that.
I know. And we're having obviously we're kind of going at one another right now, but it's all in good fun.
If you asked me, my personal opinion on the MLS is to retain the players, make a relegation zone, and force the teams to play how they're supposed to play, not just use it as an entertainment way to make money like the NFL and the NBA and the NHL. If you want U.S. soccer to grow, they have to do if it's not broke, don't fix it. And the MLS is broke. You need to fix it, and you need to change it to something that's not broke.
I want to.
That's my only.
I'm on the fly doing a little bit of research here. And I don't disagree with getting rid of relegation.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at Everton Football Club.
Yeah.
Who, to my knowledge,
years have been fighting.
They have never been relegated. Correct. Okay. So in 100 and something years, they have won in those 100+ years. Oh, where'd it go now? Honors. They have won. I'm not counting the Charity Shield. To me, that is not actually, no, they have a second division. Well, either way, they've been, ever present essentially in the first division.
Yep.
They've won the league 9 times and 5 FA Cups.
Yep.
Nothing in the last, let's see, the 94-95 season, they won the FA Cup.
Yep. So
basically our entire adult lives, they've done nothing.
Correct.
So they are happy to be mid-table. I shouldn't say happy, but they are satisfied in the middle, not being relegated, not winning anything.
When I started watching, Everton was top half, right? They've slowly dwindled. Yes. Let me put it to you this way. If I turned off
for a professional sports franchise or a professional club, who cares about top half?
Let me put it to you that
you want to win.
Yes, but let me put it to you this way: if I sat there on the last day on the last day of both seasons, and I said LAFC versus DC United with nothing on the line, or Everton versus West Ham United, winner stays up, loser relegates, which one would you watch?
Yeah, but you're right. You're right. So
there's more excitement to having that fight where every single game matters. Once you lose 10 in the MLS and you're at the bottom half of the table, you're like, fuck it. There's next season.
No,
that's it.
So the MLS argument for that is, well, most of the teams, obviously not a DC United. I mean, look at Wolves.
Yeah.
So there are
another team who's been up. Another team who's been up for a while.
But you have, fights for, playoff placement and extra home matches and getting out of that play-in game or getting into the play-in game.
Well, here's the other thing. Does the top 18 teams really need to make a playoff? The top 18 teams really
you are preaching to the choir on that.
So again, but that's what I'm saying. I feel like because the leagues that have relegation, every game matters. Every game, down to the last 4, the last 5 games. In the MLS, the only games that matter at the end are really the ones who's fighting for the Shield. And at that point, nobody cares about the Shield.
Yeah. I also think it's not a stupid thing to say that the Premier League or the English top division has a 100-year head start on
that's what I'm saying.
American soccer.
That's why I'm saying, why don't they just follow a because it's not just
I don't think blindly following just for the sake of following is the right answer.
If you have the structure to do it, why not do it?
I don't know that they have.
You have greedy people who want money. They lose out on TV rights because they're in the second division. They're going to lose on TV rights. They're going to lose on headlines. They're no longer the top division.
But let me flip the script a little bit. Is that
in the US?
MLS club problem, or is that an American fan problem?
It's an American everything problem,
right?
Because again, the MLS is a business, not a sports.
Now, I am a self-professed soccer idiot. If NYCFC get relegated, I'm still going to as many games as I can.
But
most fans
are not. But you're also a true soccer fan. Right. Yeah. Again, in England, there's those who have top flight fans, and there's those who are extreme diehard home fans, right? Because you have to have, like you said, you have to have those teams.
Let me, I'll bring you guys all behind the curtain a little bit. On Saturday for the Arsenal game, we had a gentleman in the tap room from Brighton, lifelong Brighton resident.
Yep.
Brighton's season ticket holder.
Yep.
He also has a season ticket to Arsenal.
Yeah.
Because at that time,
Brighton might not stay.
Well, no, and at the time, Brighton was not in the top division. And it is, for our American audience, obviously the English, and European people probably all know this, or mostly know it. For our American audience, most fans of smaller or quote unquote lesser successful clubs also have a Premier League club that they follow.
Correct.
So the local American equivalent that I give, to our non-soccer people or not super soccer people is, we live 20 minutes from Hudson Valley Renegades.
Yeah.
They're a minor league baseball team.
Yep.
You also support, the Mets or the Yankees or the Phillies or an MLB team.
But there's issues with that because they're a minor league team, but they don't relegate or move up either.
Yeah, but
right, that's the thing is they're always going to be a minor league team because it's a farm system. That's like saying you're going to go watch college. That's my comparison to it, right? Because college gets into the NFL just like the minor leagues gets into that.
Yeah,
you're going to watch college.
Obviously, you make some good points. I think some of your points and probably some of mine too are just wildly unrealistic. Again, we have the luxury of being able to dream up all this shit and not have to worry about potential consequences financially or this or that. So
again, you asked me what I would do if I had the MLS control for the day and I got to make one major change. I think that would be my.
No, I
think it's time.
I think you are probably in the majority with that from a fan standpoint. And I'm sure that the powers that be have done research and spoken to the current owners and spoken to media outlets and this and that and probably spoken to the Premier League and Serie A and Bundesliga and all these other leagues, Mexico, Liga MX, which by the way, I believe is voting on or already voted to bring back promotion relegation. They dropped it during COVID, and it's been, quite some time now. But I'm sure the MLS has done substantial research on that, and
I feel
it's just
like
not
I feel like it would just bring a little bit more excitement to the MLS.
I think
every game would start to matter again, no matter the loss.
You're right.
No matter.
But I think the fear is, okay, does this team fold now if they get relegated?
That's don't fold. Don't lose.
But at what? So then, where are we 10 years from now? Do we even have an MLS anymore?
I don't know. At this point, I think they need to change something, because you're saying that the fans are growing, right? MLS is still not one of the top 5 leagues
in the world,
and it will probably never.
I mean, look, we've talked about this with transfers. Unless you are Barcelona, Madrid, Bayern Munich, Liverpool, that's probably about it. You're a selling team. There's nothing wrong with, in the entire world, not being in the top 5 leagues.
Yep.
I think that's also an American opinion of we have to be the best.
Well,
no, you don't
Americans,
have to be
Americans think that they have to be the best.
Yeah.
Right?
I don't think
you cannot say you can sit there and say we have the best football league. Yes, because we have the only
one. Yeah.
We have the best basketball league because all the players from Europe come to the US.
And by and large in the last decade are dominating.
Correct.
So I that would be actually a really fun tournament. I know we talk about all these tournaments in soccer, and it's bogging down the schedule, and it's too much for these players. But I would love to see like a best of 3 series between the NBA champion and the Euro League or Euro Basket champion. That would be that would make for good television. Yep. So what's his name? David Silver.
Get that on.
Call me up. We'll make this happen.
No, I feel like that. I mean, it's really. Again, I feel like if the MLS can become a little bit more competitive in some aspect, they will grow to become probably the 7th or 6th league. Yeah,
I think. I mean, there are so many variables that we're probably not even thinking of. Well, again, like I said, we have the luxury of
not see it in our time.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
We'll see it in our time.
And who knows? Maybe the World Cup next summer will bring enough interest and money into the league to be able to afford that with parachute payments and this and that. Correct. That's really, because if it weren't for those parachute payments, you'd probably see a lot of those teams maybe not folding, but going from Premier League to Championship to League One immediately because of they have to sell off all their assets because there's just not enough money in the Championship. So. Either way, great debate. I loved it. It makes me want to do like outside of our weekly show, just like
make more on just talking.
Yeah. But that's gonna do it for us tonight. Stay tuned for our pour over show on Saturday morning.
Yes.
Make sure you follow, subscribe on YouTube, on Instagram. Follow us on Twitch as well.
Check out cdunewburgh.com.
cdunewburgh.com. If you have any questions, you can reach out to us on any and all of our socials, but also you can email us at cdunewburgh@gmail.com. Thank you upstairs to Diego for bringing us a pitcher of beer.
Yes.
And thank you, Naz, for holding down the couch there.
Was it always riveting?
Yes. No, this is a good one. We are on one of our longer shows. I feel like the last time it was just you and I. It was another really long show. But thanks again, guys. We will catch you in the tap room at some of these watch parties or Saturday morning on Twitch for the pour over. Cheers and thanks.
Have a good one.